Good morning, guys. Welcome to another Crypto EMC Trading for a Living episode. Oh, and I've got hiccups. Trading for a living, doing these things live comes with its benefits and its drawdowns. As you know, I'm a full-time stay-at-home, quit your day job, and trade and invest in crypto for a living trader. So let's quickly have a look at BTC real quick. I've got the 4-hour time frame, and as I wanted to go live, the hiccups came. So sorry about that, guys. So a 4-hour time frame, there's a few critical support and resistance levels that I just want to share with you guys. Something similar to what we had last time round. So let's delete the old levels and start afresh. Now, the easiest way to do this is to go to the weekly time frame. And while you're at it, if you've got some hiccup remedies, let me know in the comments. Because I'm seem to be battling with this. Okay, so we had a larger time frame scare a while ago and said, okay, you know, Bitcoin needs to break 92. If it does, we're good and golden, and we did. So all those worries and woes are gone. And so looking at what we have here, and I just want to point out something, and that is the weekly overlap. And this is the easiest way to continue staying in a trend, but understanding when to add. So you need to add to successful trades, and you need to build a position as long as momentum is there. So in short, if you look at any weekly time frame, you'll see that if I take that week's candle, the market has an overlap. If I take that week's candle and I put a fib on that, the market has an overlap, and so forth. So these Fibonacci overlaps gives you an idea of where to go and look for those continuation entries. So if we move to where we are at this specific moment, and I'm going to look at last week's candle, taking from the bottom to the top, the Fibonacci levels that we use is very significant for the following reasons. Okay, I'm just going to move that away for now. The 23.6 is normally your continuation level. All the strong breakouts will typically try and stay above the 23.6. So that's the first level of attack. So if you close the week on Sunday and you're looking to long the 23.6, now you can see that was our closing price, which signals that there's more move to be had. So it's fair to assume that this week we'll be breaking through the $100,000 level. Okay. And now that we have that target, what if the market decides to retrace a little bit further? Because we had very little retraces up to now. Then we know 95 and 92 would be the next area where we need to, and excuse the hiccups, where we need to look for our story. So I'm going to mark it as an interest zone. I'll be interested in that area as well. But for now, we need to trade with the momentum, which is clearly there. So let's zoom into a 4-hour time frame. We can skip the daily for now. We're trying to trade. And the 4-hour time frame, we're looking at the market was kind of slowing down a little bit. We're testing demand. Now, here is a very strong demand zone being created. So let's mark that out as a demand zone. There you have it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger like that. So there's your demand zone. It's been created, and I want to see the market push on and continue onwards. So what does it mean? Switch to a line tool and look at a few areas where we would potentially bounce after we go make a higher high. Typically, you can see Bitcoin bounce there the last time. So around 97,200 is a really significant level. Now let's take this a step back and go back to the weekly time frame. Switch on the candles. What else do we have? 97.2. These are all areas where if the market wants to continue, there's, from a Fibonacci point of view, a really high area of confluence between those levels. So if we scale this back to the 4-hour time frame, what do we have? We've got a buy zone sitting between 97.78 and 97.150, where we need to try and look for Bitcoin to continue pushing on and continue on making higher highs. Now, it doesn't mean that it necessarily will do that in one sweep. We could, for this week, face a few days of this, looking into the legacy side, trying to look for news. There's consumer confidence coming in tomorrow. I doubt that there should be any issues there. We've got further during the week, we've got this PCI index, and around Thursday, you know, there's a few more red folder events leading up to a nice and easy end of the week. The only big one that I would kind of point out is the prelim GDP. Okay, so prelim GDP also plays a big role. It was part of why the monetary policy is pivoted. So we don't want this, we want this to be strong. We don't want this to be too high. That's why it's around 2.8%. Now, why is that? I'm just going to remind you about these little images. The Fed pivots. The Fed increases the interest rates to do what? To cool down the economy. Once the economy, i.e. inflation, once that is done, we're kind of okay. And we are probably, because we're trying for soft landing, we don't want to have a scenario where the Fed pivots, the market turns really bullish and then immediately creates a divergence and then sells off, pushing us into a recession. Oh, this bloody hiccups is just frustrating. I drank 2 tall glasses of water. I held my breath for as long as I can do. There was the one where you need to think about when was the last time you saw a white horse. And I even tried that. And yeah, it's a tricky thing. But okay, here we are now. So you can see that when we look at all these scenarios, the recession stuff is on its way. But the market first is going to go through some excess. So keep thinking big pumps. You know, it's not there just yet. Okay. So back to that. Those news events, those folder events could potentially play around with BTC as large players use this choppy volatility to actually position themselves. Okay. So now that you have that, we've got our weekly overlap sitting at around 97, 133. That's your first level of attack. So there's the demand zone. What do we want to do? We want to reduce that area and consider that now we want this to turn into a buy box. Okay. Looking for this for the continuation on a little bit higher. Okay. Now this is for analytical purposes as well. You know, as I always point out, this was the buy zone that I shared in this morning's market tactics with everybody, looking for the market to kind of bounce in between these areas so we can start adding to our positions, considering that price will potentially reject around 98,800 again, because we are going to be running into some bearish divergence around that time. Okay. So now that that's all out of the way, and we kind of have it, like I always say, video is brought to you by Prime. If you want to support the content, open a Prime account, go to my Discord, and look in the video links. There's a lot of bonuses and additional advantages for, you know, for one hand washes the other. I help you, you help me. Simple as that. But what the buddy indicator does is it takes away the guessing, gives you good entries. Kind of is it's a friend. You know, helps you know what to look for. You know, says look for strong bullish divergence, look for hidden bearish divergence, look for hidden bearish divergence. And within the Discord, within all these scenarios, there's education on how you should set up your fibs to try and get in on these entries for strong bullish divergence. You know, get in your entries for the hidden bearish divergence. You know, when to add to a short. You know, that kind of thing, so that you can always trade in harmony with the market. So I'm going to use this now and switch over to the altcoins, because that's the big thing. Now, what did we do last week? Last week, I said, listen, Cardano is really bullish. This is the buy zone for Cardano. It's around 76 cents. We went to $1.15. So close to 33% success rate on Cardano, or additional gains in your bags for taking that buy. Now, one thing I want to point out to you is when we look at Cardano to the BTC pairing, significant thing, I'm going to go higher time frame because I want to look at trend. I don't want to try and look at bottoms or try and trade this. Trend wise, we've had a long steady decline. Okay, there's our last pivot. Okay, here's our higher high. So from this point onwards, you can keep an eye on ADA to the BTC pairing. If ADA slips, it will probably slip max 30% on BTC before it will try and continue on going further. Now, how does an alt season for an alt like Cardano normally look? Okay, very simple. It's short-lived. So while you're in the ADA run now, you need to just not lose sight of the fact that there's going to be times that you need to take profit. Boom, boom. And when that happens, it tells you that the move is over. Now, it's still early days, guys. We first pumped there. There's still a lot that needs to happen before we're going to even start looking at the divergence and worry about this. But it's just always wise to just have a big picture goal behind your trading, especially because we're in this kind of environment now. So you can look at your Cardano long, back to this point. You can look at these longs, and if you get a scenario where it's like this and it runs, what I do is my last take profit, I don't take it. I just move the position to break even and I try and forget about that money. Because if Cardano is going to end up at $10, $20, $30 during the next bull run, let's say moves, what's going to happen is this little position that you left unaccounted for, just left, stop at break even, you don't want to wreck your account, is going to put some serious multipliers into your account, as for many of the other ones. Okay, so that's the Cardano update briefly in a way. Now let's move this over to the 4-hour time frame. Look at Ethereum. I'm going to try and use the buddy indicator to just kind of define and see where there's a potential good trade for you guys. Now you guys know I do not try and prepare these streams in advance. I like the honesty of just doing it with you guys, saying what I see so we can trade with what with how the market moves. And at the moment you can see Ethereum has no setup, Shiba Inu has no setup, but we've got Polkadot that just came off a nice buy from the buddy, halfway to its way to TP1. So we probably need to look at Polkadot today. And Cardano doesn't have any setup at this moment. And this is now a 4-hour time frame. We've had the same for ICP. So Polkadot, ICP is moving strong. And then we've got continuation for TON and Phantom. So I'm liking these ones. Solana, no setup at the moment. So today, if you consider trading, trade Polkadot, build ICP, trade TON, and trade Phantom. There's momentum there. Okay, let's take this now into a 15-minute, a more trade-appropriate time frame. Okay, and let's see what we have with Polkadot. So at the moment, it's only telling me that there's bullish momentum. So if I have to expand Polkadot and maybe bring in the RSI, we will potentially, after the strong bearish divergence has played out, you can clearly see it's marked day, probably come back down to at least what, $8.80 thereabout, support resistance levels sitting around these areas. And at that stage, you want to be looking for an RSI that's going to be going lower. Okay. And the buddy should, if it's done its work right, will start throwing you a hidden bullish divergence tag, which means that if this is the wave, the continuation of that wave, hidden bullish divergence, puts us right there in the buy zone if you're using the Strat 4 strategy. So let's just put that there on Strat 4. Boom. Yes, there's all the positions. So that would be a good area to try and look for a Polkadot trade around $8.80. Okay. The same then if we go on to ICP. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go back to the 4-hour time frame with the buddy. Let's quickly see what it is showing me. Okay, so we had this buy. It's a missed opportunity because after it created the setup, price never went there. Okay. So these areas will typically be statistically the most appropriate support and resistance levels. Okay. There's a mathematical equation that I used to define these lines, which is quite interesting. It's out of the scope of today's video, but if you go and study up on mathematical support levels, you're going to find that I can't remember the formula offhand because I used a lot of ChatGPT to code the thing, but it's the square root of whatever is playing out in addition to the previous support and resistance level. Then you start getting these levels that step out. So it's quite interesting. Go read up on that if you really want to do that. So now we have this. So we have this area ICP. So what will it potentially do? Around $11 should be bullish again. Okay. So if you move this to the 15-minute time frame, let it do $11, it should be bullish. Now, as a rule always goes, good sell zones turn into good buy zones as well. Why? Because I always try, all my strategies, the idea is to try and short at resistance, go long at support. It's actually quite simple. Short at resistance, so it should turn this then into support. That's it. That's it. And that's why these strategies are working with a really high success rate, because it's just trying to look at price action from a purely fundamental point of view to try and get these trades in. And as I always say, guys, one hand washes the other. Get your buddy indicator by trading with me on Prime. Open a Prime account, go to my Discord, there's actually a nice little easy step-by-step button there, PRIMEXBT indicator access. You give me your user ID, and if you've done this, I'll hook you up with the indicator. It's as simple as that. Okay, works on all time frames. Let's get back to the alts real quick. So we were looking at ICP as a good one, and then the last one was Phantom. I'm going to skip over TON for now. If there's time, I'll explain why. Phantom, so hit this back to the 4-hour time frame. Let's quickly let it load. There you go. So yet again, resistance is there. You can see the significance of these levels, and support sitting around this area. So where should we start considering grabbing our buy? So this is the last time the market, if I'm now right, there you go. There's your pivots, should be around those areas. Okay, so within that zone, if we hit this to the 15-minute, if Phantom comes into this area, gives us a buy zone, it's destined to probably be a really good area for continuation. So wait for the buddy to give you an SO4. At this stage, the SO4 should be kind of flat, so it's not necessarily the best area, but so the top of this area around 94 for continuation. And then if not, we'll probably need to see an SO1 here at the bottom, strong bullish divergence. As a reminder, guys, okay, as a reminder, there's market going up. To try and spot the tops, you use the SO1, okay. There's market going down, try and spot the bottoms, you'll use the SO1, okay. Okay, then there's the market trending. While that happens, you're looking for the SO4. Okay, SO4 is continuation of a retrace. Okay, and while that happens, there's a chop. There's the SO2s. That's where they live. And the market is for most of its time in that condition. So the buddy indicator has strategies defined or created on all the basic ways that the market will typically move up and down and sideways, so that we can use the different setups to always be on the right side. Okay, I see there's a few questions. Let's quickly see if I can do a request, and we're going to end off the stream. And this afternoon, I'm going to be back at the HODL portfolio. We're going to be looking at our Cardano. I mean, that's the buy I shared with you guys. We're sitting up there. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We're going to be looking at Doge coin. This thing is flying. Is that potentially setting up for a get out or take profit divergence? That kind of questions we're going to be looking at as well. And then some of the new ones that's now really started finally getting some life. So at the moment, Celestia is on a run. We're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at OP, which has also had its runs, kind of consolidating. Is there more? Those kind of things. And remember, the rules always say, first investment, double your money, sell half, then go for your second investment. And that's the only way you can really successfully diversify. And then when the bull market takes all the coins and they start 10xing, you only need 3 sets of 10x's on a portfolio, and you're in the millions. So it's actually quite easy to make money in the bull cycle. That desperation and worry, thoughts that we kind of bring from trying to get in on the longs while it was still choppy, that now needs to be forgotten, especially for those that's been here for a while. Okay, let's see what else we have. So we'll look at Rune 1000Y, please. Okay, so buddy, I would love to look at, maybe let's do that last one. Let's see, 1000. Oh, sorry, 1000Y. Okay, so it's on Maxi. Let's see, it's still brand new. So trading wise, daily time frame doesn't make sense. So you're going to probably hit this on the 15-minute. I'm going to show you this tip. Go to your fib speed resistance fan. Okay, click at the bottom somewhere. Okay, and click at the highs. Just adjust it so that you have a trend. Now, the easiest way to kind of pick up where bottom of the wave is, there's probably a bottom of a wave there. There's probably a bottom of a wave there. So you kind of just want to line it up with the bottom pivot. Okay. And then when that is trending, what you will find is as time goes on, the market will listen and adhere to that speed fan, and that keeps you in the trend. Okay. That's the only value you want to see. Nothing else. I just look at the 38 too. Okay. Keep on doing that. So there, as long as we stay above it, I'm bullish. As long as we stay above it, I'm bullish. As long as we stay above it, I'm bullish. So we had a nice breakout. As long as you stay above it, you're bullish, which means that it can chop all the way back down and you should still be okay. If you want to buy right now, that would be a horrible time. Rather wait for the line to try and look for your first area, because you want to be as close to invalidation as potentially as possible before you move on. Okay.
I'll keep hustling.
Subscribe now.